Through safety, service, and protection, the Ohio Department of Public Safety is contributing to a safer Ohio every day. On this episode of Contributing to a Safer Ohio, 2013 was the safest year ever on Ohio roads. The Ohio State Highway Patrol believes it happened as the result of several factors, including partnerships, enforcement, emergency care, education, and engineering. We'll examine just how state troopers, police officers, and sheriff's deputies contributed to the safest year in Ohio history. Despite the record-setting accomplishments in 2013, the presence of alcohol in fatal crashes continues to be a significant problem in Ohio. We'll show you how and why Ohio Investigative Unit officers are tracing the source of alcohol after a serious injury or fatal crash or an alcohol-related incident, particularly when alcohol is believed to have been provided to an already intoxicated individual or someone under 21 years old. And finally, human trafficking has been referred to as a modern-day slavery, a horrendous crime in which people profit from the control and exploitation of others. It's a crime Governor Kasich has referred to as a scourge and something he's committed to tackling head-on. We'll show you how the Ohio Office of Criminal Justice Services is on the forefront of this issue and how they provide resources to those who are dedicated to eradicating this crime. All of that on this episode of Contributing to a Safer Ohio. Last year was the safest year on Ohio roadways. Public safety officials believe factors including partnerships, enforcement, emergency care, education, as well as engineering all resulted in fewer than 1,000 people losing their lives on Ohio roadways in 2013. This is the lowest number of people killed since the state began keeping records in 1936, when 2,389 people died. Roadway deaths have significantly declined since then and reached the previous lowest point in 2011 when 1,016 people died.
2013 was the safest year on Ohio's roadways. When you put those 4 E's together, education, enforcement, engineering, and emergency care, when you put all 4 of those together, those are responsible for our decline in the number of people dying on our roadways. We have made a good bit of progress. We still got some work to do as we go forward, making sure that we're doing everything that we possibly can to make Ohio's roadways safe.
OVI enforcement is probably one of the most important things we do. It can be the difference between life and death.
We realize that alcohol and drug-impaired driving is a major contributor to the fatal crashes that we're having. But one of the things that has really led to some of the success that we've seen over the course of the last couple of years is the pound 677 number, and getting the community or the people, the other motorists involved, being our eyes and ears basically. One of the things that we have got to do is we've got to look at those, not only the crash-causing violations themselves, but the fact that our folks are not wearing their safety belt, and it's the easiest thing that you can do.
Beginning in 2011, the patrol established a goal to contribute to a safer Ohio by reducing traffic-related fatalities and increasing criminal patrol efforts through high-visibility enforcement. The symbol of this effort, Trooper's Shield, was developed to challenge all patrol employees to measure progress one day at a time, one less fatality than the day before, and removing one more dangerous driver from Ohio roadways.
And so the question is, if you could save a life today, if the life you were going to save was somebody right close to you, one of your children, your spouse, somebody in your immediate family, the only way that you were going to save that person's life today was to go out on the road as a trooper and work just as hard as you possibly could. The question is, how hard would you work today? Well, I can tell you how hard I would work if I knew that my work was going to result in the saving of one of my children's lives. That's how hard we should work every day. You know, it's just stopping cars, talking to people, selling traffic safety, always looking beyond the initial reason for the traffic stop, reaching out, bringing our partners in, other law enforcement agencies, and the success that we're realizing right now is due in large part to the partnerships and the collaboration that we have with other agencies.
What we need to get the public to realize is traffic safety starts with them first.
Buckle up and drive sober. Those are 2 things that are causing crashes. If we could eliminate those 2 areas, we would drive down fatal numbers across the nation.
Moving forward in 2014, the patrol plans to continue to drive down fatal crashes through high visibility enforcement and working hand in hand with local law enforcement, as well as removing impaired drivers and maintaining a zero tolerance policy regarding safety belt usage. The presence of alcohol in fatal crashes continues to be a significant problem in Ohio. This is one reason why the Ohio Department of Public Safety and the Ohio Investigative Unit are focusing on traceback investigations. These investigations involve tracing the source of alcohol after a serious injury or fatal crash or an alcohol-related incident, particularly when alcohol is believed to have been provided to an already intoxicated individual or someone under 21 years old. Last year in the state of Ohio, OIU agents conducted 131 traceback investigations. 122 of the investigations were the result of a crash, 66 of those resulted in a fatality, and 50 resulted in a serious injury.
A traceback is a type of an investigation where agents go out after the crash and immediately begin an investigation trying to find out the source of the alcohol. As they respond to the scene, their focus is to take the investigation back to where the violation may have occurred. Through witness statements, through a variety of things that may be secured at the scene, whether it's alcohol or receipts, those type of things, they'll take all that evidence and collect it, and then they'll try to figure out, okay, what was the actual source? What actually contributed to the impairment of this driver? And if there's someone that's held accountable or there are violations that may have occurred contributing to the driver's condition, then agents are going to hold those folks accountable. The possible offenses are anywhere from 6 months in jail to a $1,000 fine for the individual if it involves an underage sale, and the liquor permit or the licensed establishment is looking at a fine, suspension, or even possibly a revocation of their liquor permit.
Ohio law enforcement agencies are also seeing the value in requesting a traceback investigation.
Just recently, within the last couple of months, we had a 20-year-old that was killed in a fatality in a traffic crash, and it was clear from the beginning that it was alcohol related, and our traffic section reached out to the Ohio Department of Public Safety, and through that partnership with them, we were able to turn that part of the investigation over, the traceback investigation, to where we could focus on other things, and they actually were able to trace back where that 20-year-old had been prior to the fatality.
The Ohio Investigative Unit is a vital part of traceback investigations not only in Ohio, but also across the United States. We work with the National Liquor Law Enforcement Association and have teamed up with them to actually do presentations for not just Ohio, but even offer our services across the country.
Being able to come in and have the expertise to know what the violations are, because it's stuff that the average patrol officer on the street doesn't deal with that much. So the Ohio Investigative Unit, when they're here, using their specific expertise in those permit establishments is a huge benefit to us.
Across Ohio, law enforcement agencies do what they can to reduce alcohol-related fatalities and alcohol violations in general. However, it's the citizens of Ohio that have to get involved, they have to be responsible, and they have to be accountable for their actions. And we ask citizens to get involved and contribute to a safer Ohio.
Human trafficking has been referred to as modern-day slavery, a horrendous crime in which people profit from the control and exploitation of others. For many years, the Ohio Office of Criminal Justice Services has been on the forefront of this issue and continues to provide resources to those who are dedicated to eradicating this crime.
Here at OCJS, we really pride ourselves on being on the cutting edge of criminal justice issues. And I thought that it was really our responsibility to ensure that the public knew more about this issue.
In March of 2012, Governor Kasich created the Ohio Human Trafficking Task Force by executive order. The task force seeks to marshal the resources of the state to effectively reduce the crime of trafficking in Ohio.
Trafficking is real and it's happening all throughout the state. And the reality is that as we've done more training, as there's this massive paradigm shift in law enforcement and victim services and our state agencies and even the general public, we're starting to see more cases.
Enforcement and law enforcement is a very small part of this equation. It's important that we train people to recognize the signs of human trafficking and to take action, move people to action. Over 3,000 state employees have now been trained on how to recognize cases of human trafficking.
This crime, like any other crime, the key is to educating our eyes and ears, and that is always the general public.
If you see something, you can call the National Human Trafficking Resource Center number, which is 1-888-3737-888. And of course, if you see someone in immediate danger, you should always call 911.
OCJS is deeply committed to continue to combat this atrocious crime that's happening right here in our own neighborhoods. DPS will continue to support efforts that will ultimately make Ohio a safer place by protecting the rights of victims and driving traffickers out of our state. Thank you for watching this episode of Contributing to a Safer Ohio.